Let me start by saying there's almost certainly going to be a cat at some point in this video. Aren't you, kitty? Don't play with the mic stand. Hi guys, I'm Simon. This is Tech My Life Video. So people are traveling more than ever, which is fun and exciting, but the challenge is keeping the tech we take with us fully charged. In the same way, in a perfect world, people wouldn't drive on the right-hand side of the road. I guess a right can sometimes be a wrong. Who would have thunk it? But with PowerPoints, we have the same issue as driving on which side of the road. Around the world, there is different standards. Now, there's variations, but the main four standards are Australia, which is of course the best. Then, of course, there is the USA, the UK, and Europe. Now, it would be great to have one standard around the world, but unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. When I travel with an iPhone, an iPad, actually a lot of the time 2 iPads, a MacBook, Apple Watch, and a range of other devices. So I need one of these, an adapter for the wall for the different countries, then what we call a power board, but a lot of people call a power strip. So I can plug that into there. And then I've got MacBook charger, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, or other iPad. So I'm carting around all of that. So that's a lot to carry. I told you there'd be a cat, there it is. That's a lot to carry around when you're traveling overseas or even in Australia. And that's what I used to carry around. But if I just remove this, because I'm gonna need that, I can replace all of this with just this. This is the Twist Plus World Charging Station from One Adapter. This is a company that started out on Kickstarter. So let's start with the Twist. This middle section with the yellow button rotates around and locks into place, selecting the plug style you need. This is UK. Press the button to release. It rotates around and locks into place with European. Press again, rotate around, and you get the Australian plug. Now these are angled pins. If you straighten them up, you've got the USA. Now in terms of inputs, the Twist Plus World Charger has 4 USBs that are 5 volt 4 amp inputs. Now the plus bit is under this little cover here. Take the cover off and you've got an adapter for your MacBook or your MacBook Pro charger, which is very cool. Now you want to know how good is it? Well, it's a great product and I haven't tested it in all situations in all countries, but I did get to use it in Germany earlier in the year and it worked perfectly. Charging worked perfectly, which is what you need when you're a long way from home. I've used it in Australia as well, and it's not quite so perfect. It's still the best solution that I've found, but there are some issues. Firstly, the size of the round body interferes with some switches on some PowerPoints, so you can't actually switch them on. You can see this double adapter actually steps out with a very small circle, steps out to avoid this problem. The size of the unit also stops you plugging in anything next to it in a double PowerPoint, which is a common issue with this style of plug. So the biggest issue with this unit is the overall length. So if we look at this and say this is a wall socket and we plug it in, it already starts to sag. You can already see that sagging slightly. And if we use the plus, which is adding this, you can see it starts to come out of the socket. And I've had it sag to almost falling completely out. Now, how do I overcome this? Well, in Australia, to overcome all the issues of this unit, I actually keep it plugged in to this double adapter because that gives me the spacing and I can put a rubber band around it like that. And now I don't have the sagging issue either. So I've got the space at the socket with the switches and also things next to it. Solves all my problems. So why didn't they think of this? Well, if you're in Europe, you can actually have it up this way. So that kind of helps with this extra weight being at the bottom rather than at the top. But they've done a good job here, but I feel like there's some room for improvement. Form is good, but function is number one. Function has to be there. And I really feel like they could have just taken these sides off of this unit and it still would have looked good, but functioned better. It would have enabled you to have plugs next to this plug in a double socket, they could have cut it away and then sloped it out. And that would have alleviated most of the issues. I think the other thing is the overall length. Now, this plus part really gives a cue for what they could have done with these USB ports, which is potentially put them on the bottom in some sort of other, it's a little bit ugly, I guess you might say. It's not as beautiful as the pure cylinder, but have that at the other side. It could have been fairly symmetrical with the USB ports, and then you could get rid of that entire section, and that brings all the weight very much closer to the wall. Now, I've only got one unit and I use it. I do like it. I'm not going to hack it up. If I get enough likes, views and comments on this video, I might get another one and actually, pull it apart and chop into it a little bit and see whether, without massive engineering changes, whether or not this could be easily improved. So there you go. That is the Twist Plus World Charging Station from One Adapter. Definitely worth a look before you go on your next adventure. Remember to subscribe down there because it helps me bring you great tech content. Give the video a thumbs up because it helps the channel out. And of course, comment down below with any questions you may have. I love chatting to you guys. I'm Simon. That is Frankie the Cat. This has been Tech My Life Video. And we'll see you next time. Bye. An Apple Watch and a range of other kitty. Now I can get rid of all of this because I've got this. Really? Really? Do you have to? Do you have to? Really? I don't know.